Hello, my name's Dan Taylor, and today I wanted to record just a quick video going through something that actually happened on January 23rd, and it is now getting a lot more traction in the SEO industry. So I thought now is a good time to actually cover it and bring a lot of this to light. So on January 23rd, Google updated their search quality guidelines to actually include a lot more, I'm going to say, statements around generative AI and their perceived usage of generative AI for various different content forms, not just direct text production. Now, I'll link to this article in the video description, but back at start of February, I penned this on my personal site, just kind of going over a breakdown. That's some of the main elements from this I took from reading through the guidelines, where really to answer that question, does Google care if I use AI to write my content? Technically, the answer is yes, although your mileage may vary. There are instances where it does work, you can get away with it. Is AI content necessarily bad? No. Is it bad if it's bad for the user, or just homogeneous regurgitation? Yes. So some key points from this before I just kind of go through the guidelines as well, because there's more actually in the guidelines than what I covered here. So on my personal site, I covered the page main content. Google now clearly states the lowest rate applies to all or most, if all or most of the main content on the page, including the text, images, audios, videos, is copied, paraphrased, embedded, or AI generated. So it has now officially come out, Google have now officially come out and said, if your content is AI generated, it will be the lowest rating. How Google detects this, how Google will then proceed to work with it, is up for debate. I think, in my opinion, will always be a room where, if it adds value, agrees with consensus, and isn't harmful, or in a YMYL topic, it may surface. There may be instances where it still surfaces and is ranked well. This isn't a foolproof system. Other elements pulled through here as well is just things around content paraphrasing. They also have a very strong disclaimer around AI content and EAT. On page 46 for guidelines, one of the clear statements were that if a website states that some articles are generated by artificial intelligence and may have errors or be out of date, and there is no indication as to which pages this statement applies directly, the information in this article is not trustworthy. That then builds to actually say again, if there is no specificity as to which pages are AI generated and may contain errors, all articles on the site should be considered untrustworthy. Other things in here as well, which you pretty common, and I think is what one of the biggest fears of AI content is just right around scaled content abuse. So really low effort programmatic. I have caveated that here where I've said executed poorly, because programmatic can work very well in some cases. Mass generated AI content, especially if you're generating masses of content which isn't in the topic area you are. It's new topics, it's too far adjacent to what you're actually publishing. I mean, I've also covered off things like page FAQs at the end. Now, one of the reasons why this is coming to the forefront is just around how some generative AI elements are being recommended to be used at the moment. Now, I'll drop a link to this PDF in the video description below. This is the actual quality guidelines. You can find them. Like I said, these were last updated on January 23rd, 2025, and this is the version I'm showing here. So generative AI is now mentioned 14 times. You've got the basic explanation of what it is. Lastly, there are at least 3. Examples of scaled content abuse, again, using automated generative AI tools to create a low effort way to produce many pages that add little to no value to website visitors. So this kind of also goes back to what Google talks about beneficial purpose. So when you're producing a web page and producing content, you have to consider what the beneficial purpose of it is. If you're just writing content to rank for a specific query or set of queries, adding little to no value to other content on the internet, the beneficial purpose of that isn't to satisfy the user's intent or the objective. It's just to rank for that set of queries. I believe an example that John Mueller has used, which I will hobby horse now between now and the end of time, is a very common one you see on SaaS websites and technology software websites, where I know you'll have voice recorders, and you'll write an article, the 5 best voice recorders for 2025, and number 1 will always be your brand and you'll have a good 500-600 words. It'll be structured, it'll be in depth, there'll be tables, there'll be screenshots, it'll be, yeah, this is great. Then 2, 3, 4, 5 will be arbitrary options, potentially ones you don't necessarily see as competitors, and they won't have anywhere near that level of in-depth. Now, you're targeting that because you're wanting to rank for best voice recorders 2025, whatever that combination of keywords are. But the beneficial purpose of that content piece isn't to provide value to the user who is searching for that. The beneficial purpose there, the main purpose, is to rank for those queries and provide that biased sales view. So that is what I kind of feel is meant here when it's especially about little to no value, because you can very easily programmatically spin up a lot of content, but with AI in this way, you can very easily spin up best guides to 50 states, 50 state capitals, sub-states. It's really a huge opportunity to do that, and this is kind of saying don't, and being honest, we really shouldn't be anyway. Carries on my next few things. So obviously content paraphrase from single sources. So if it's just rewords, this goes back to even pre-AI when people were using content spinners. It was really blooming obvious which kind of content we want. And when you see spun content, even back in the days of a unique article wizard and things like that, it's not really changed. But obviously generative AI has added a new element to that, I guess, rather than just using syntax and pipe spinning. It's now an intelligent way of spinning, I guess. Again, one call out in here: the use of tools alone does not determine. I'll just highlight that. So yeah, so the use of AI tools alone does not determine the value, determine the level of effort or page quality rating. Generative AI tools may be used for high quality and low quality content creation. So it isn't just the fact it is AI, it's the fact that if it's AI done poorly and sloppy, you still need human in the loop, you still need effort, you still need work. AI is a tool and it's part of the process. It is not the finished product, and it's not producing the finished product. The standard guidance on how to determine if content is copied remained relatively the same. This hasn't changed too much really in regards to generative AI. I'll skip on to the next bits. Again, it also pulls here around this element is from what I pulled in my blog article, just around how it's about the main content on a page, and main content supporting content, again, not new concepts within quality rate guidelines. Paraphrasing, again, even to the point where some websites still publish as an AI language model. I remember coming across a couple of websites last year where it was obvious someone had used multiple prompts and just carried on asking ChatGPT for more and more and copied the content, but didn't think to take out the sentences. Sure, I can expand on that, on the conversational elements of what a chat GPT would do, I guess, in my instance. Again, scaled content abuse, especially in the YM Mile series. One thing which is interesting in here, which is just AI is mentioned 20 times, I want to bring up, which isn't necessarily the generative AI. It's that around authorship. Now, there is at the time of recording, there is something doing around how authorship has been brought to the forefront in regards to EAT. Now, the guidelines on page 37 do explicitly say a web page or website with a fake owner or content creator profiles, for example, AI generated with a made-up author profiles, AI generated images or deceptive creative descriptions, in order to make it appear that the content is written by people. Then also goes on to say the factually inaccurate and deceptive information about creator expertise. For example, an author or creator profile inaccurately claims to have credentials or expertise, e.g., content creator claims to be falsely be a medical professional to make the content appear more trustworthy than it is. This kind of goes back to a Jurassic Park quote: just because we can doesn't mean we should. I've butchered that quote completely, but it is that same angle of it's about responsible use of AI in these instances, and not just the flat out use of AI. Google, it does say in here that it can be used to create high quality content, and high quality content can meet user needs and it can be satisfactory. It's just that lower end and the scaled abuse elements that Google wants to avoid, and that we definitely should stop advocating. So that's just a video just kind of going over those thoughts. If you have enjoyed this and you have got thoughts on this and you've gone through the guidelines, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I will link to the article and the quality rating guidelines themselves in the video description. If you do enjoy this video, please do consider dropping it a like, and I would be ever so grateful if you would also subscribe to the SALT YouTube channel. And until next time, I wish you all the best and thank you very much for watching.